Bagseed Chronicles.
So he becomes the assistant district attorney over there in Klamath Falls.
Hello. Welcome back to the Bagseed Chronicles. This is Uncle Dig. I hope you are enjoying our unofficial start of summer. We had a little bit of a cold spell here in the Northwest, so it's nice that it's warming up again. I hope that you are indulging in your sunniest activities this summer. I hope that you are indulging in your best and worst behaviors, and that you are enjoying every minute of it, as long as you were keeping up with your chores, huh? I've also got an interview, the rest of the interview with Larry Aday. So we'll be airing that on the last part of the episode. Seriously, guys, the sun is shining. It is gorgeous outside, and who knows how long this water is going to last. So please, if you've been thinking about getting a tattoo, get it. If you've been thinking about asking that girl out, maybe it's time. Unless it's at her workplace, guys. Don't bother women at work. And just go out there and get it, man. Just go out there and get it. Get it. Right before all that, how about a little update on what's been going on in my garden? Uncle Dig's garden update. Hey, everyone. It is the 2nd of June, 2022. We are in gardening zone 8B, and this is Uncle Dig with your garden update. I have completely gone outdoors. I have no more living plants inside. I have a couple of plants drying indoors that are autoflowers, right? I've got Tangerine Dream, Afghan, and candy cane, all drying right now, and then the blackberry and the Girl Scout cookie are both curing. The Girl Scout cookie yielded about 1.58 ounces, and the blackberry yielded about 1.5 ounces, so I know I'm consistent, so that makes me happy. The Fire of Maroof number 2 is getting much bigger. I think I may start feeding it some synthetic fertilizer soon, just a little bit. The Fire of Maroof 5 is doing very well. I still don't know exactly how I'm going to trellis them. It's going to be a challenge growing out plants this big, this early in the year, but I look forward to seeing what kind of yields I get off of them. 2 Amnesia Haze are doing well. They're getting established. Same with the Northern Lights, the CBD Dutch Treat, and the Canatonic. Everyone is doing well. I did some mild cleanups of the bottoms from some leaves that were dipping into the soil sometimes when they go to sleep at night. Other than that, I haven't really done much with them. Haven't been fertilizing anyone, just been letting them uptake what's in the soil. You know, I've got them in Happy Frog. I'm sorry, no, I've got them in Ocean Forest, and the top layer is Happy Frog to kind of keep moisture in there. So everything's going well. There's not much significant to report. I doused everyone with diatomaceous earth. There was some leafhopper pressure early on, but it seems like we've got that under control. I'm going to start spraying Dr. Zymes here after this next bit of rains. I'm going to start doing some more aggressive IPM. Everyone looks good. Everyone's doing good. The peppers are almost all up potted into their final containers. I've just got 2 jalapenos and a serrano pepper to up pot, and then I've got 2 clones that are outside that I'm just waiting on a friend of mine to come pick up. So the garden is outdoors. I've just been watering everybody and pounding in tea stakes and getting ready for that trellis. So I hope everyone is having a great time in their garden if you have one, and I hope that you get out soon if you're trying to get out, because you're running out of time to kind of make the transition outdoors. It's going to get really, really hot, and it's going to be less than ideal. So if you are doing outdoor growing this year, it's well past the point, well past the time to get started. So you may want to think about growing indoor or wait until next year. Anyway, I'll see y'all next time. Let's overgrow the world. The following audio is the second half of an interview I had with a Southern Oregon cannabis activist, Larry Aday. If you want to hear the first part of this interview, tune into the last episode. That's episode 9, season 2 of the Bagseed Chronicles, Larry Aday part 1. Without further preamble or explanation, here's that interview. All right. Now, like you said, like it's legal in Oregon. It's been legal in Oregon. There's been a culture, a pretty laissez-faire culture in this part of Oregon when it comes to cannabis, long before it was even legal. I mean, it was, I mean, even when it was just medically legal, I feel like a lot of the times the Oregon growers and the Oregon cannabis scene was kind of like, if not right out in the open, kind of right out on the edge of the open.
The gray area. It was always in a gray area here.
Yeah.
And it really depended upon what county, too, because even after it was legal, we had a sheriff over on the coast.
Yeah.
That just refused to believe it. Period. Period. Well, he's the same sheriff that did the thing when they did the assault weapon ban.
Yeah.
Or not a ban, but they put some restrictions on it.
Okay.
And he refused to go by the government.
Oh, he's
that guy.
Yeah, I got you.
That guy over on the coast.
Okay. We've got a few of them in Oregon now. A few of those sheriffs that won't.
Right, and that was kind of a joke at the time. It's like, it's legal in Medford, it's legal in Ashland, it's legal in Portland, but I don't care what it says on the books. It ain't legal over on the coast because that sheriff says it ain't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And now I think
and not isn't. He said ain't.
Right.
Okay, he's that guy.
Well, and then now we've got, and since they passed the full legalization, I think, what was that now? Was that 2014, was it, when we legalized here?
You know what? I'm not sure, 2014 or 2015. Yeah, it's been that long ago.
So now it's almost been 8 years. And so when I remind people like this, people back in the day, like, you couldn't find it. Like, if you went to a new town and you didn't know anybody and it was a smaller town, you could not get weed. You wouldn't be able to find it. No one would talk to you.
I know. We used to chuckle about that. We're spilling more weed, enough weed on the floor that would help a small town in Ohio get high for days.
Yeah.
And that's actually the perfect segue into that legalization.
Right.
And for the listeners in other states, this is the linchpin of all of your efforts for legalization, especially you activists. We got screwed in Oregon. I was not for legalization. I didn't vote yes.
Okay.
I had gone to the meetings. I'd been an activist, and they started these things called stakeholders meetings. Okay, well, when I showed up to the meeting, there was 2 or 3 stakeholders, marijuana growers. Most of the people that were growing weed weren't real up on going to the meeting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Some of the major people that should have been at the meeting. But what we did have was, back in the day, they called them carpetbaggers. Okay? They come in from out of state with their own political and financial agendas, and that's when they brought in, I'm going to do this over dramatically, dun dun dun, the metric. Okay, so, and these guys, I don't know where they were from, but I know that the guys that were here had helped Colorado legalize. Right. And that's when they start getting all the cameras and the computers and all of this crazy stuff.
So the audience isn't as versed in the cannabis scene as you are. What for the audience who doesn't know, and I have never been involved in the legal recreational stuff. What is metric?
Okay, metric is a way for the government to track marijuana seed to sale.
Right.
Okay? So the original seeds they get a number. They get a barcode, and then the clone gets a barcode, and then every time that it's watered, it has to be entered into the computer. So basically, if something goes haywire, they can tell you who rolled your pre-roll. They can tell you who sprouted the seed on your pre-roll.
Okay.
Because there was that, I don't know what the psychological word is for it, but when people try to overcompensate, kind of like a little kid that wants a cookie, but he's telling his mom that, see that kid over there? That kid's bad because he's eating 2 cookies and I only want 1. You see that overcompensation?
Right.
We
Like
don't want
virtue
children.
Signaling? Or
Is that what that is? Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But it's like, we don't need that. That's absurd. No one's going to die from marijuana. Okay? I don't care. I don't care if a kid eats a pound of gummies. He's not going to die. He's going to get sick.
The only thing marijuana is going to kill, honestly, is probably your dog or your cat, if we're being honest. Like that's
no, the girls both, remember Charlie, my little dog?
Oh, yeah.
He got it twice. Well, that's why I banned the girls from cooking.
I had a buddy just recently almost kill his cat with a high-potency edible, though.
Oh, but the cat didn't die now, did it?
Just near run. Don't give fucking edibles to your cats,
don't
please.
do it. Don't do it ever intentionally. That's why I banned the girls from making edibles in the house because they just were they were not careful about it.
Oh my!
Even now, I mean, we sit over there. We have plenty of weed, but when
yeah.
they want edibles, I send them to the store.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I let them go to the dispensaries. But anyway, back to the politics of it. These usurpers.
And metric doesn't work. By the way, what the listener needs to know is metric has not ever and will not ever work because it's dependent on people. One, it's glitchy, and here's the other thing: it hasn't worked in any of the states it's been tried to limit diversion. It hasn't limited diversion at all. So it doesn't even do what it's supposed to do.
The cartels haven't signed up.
Well, no. I'll go further than the cartels. There are people running the metric system right now, and where everything's supposedly accounted for, that are still sending pounds out the back door somehow. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and a lot of that too is the people that aren't on the metric. We saw these grows pop up around here. They didn't have any paperwork. They had no and nobody bothered to check until last year.
Dude,
it was Dodge City here for about 5 years.
It floored me. Okay, so like I don't have this kind of imagination and brazenness because you told me a couple years ago, you're like all these hemp fields around here, maybe not the whole field.
But the quarter, there was sections of it.
Right. And I was like, they would not just because these people, they were not hiding it, folks. Okay, and then I was driving out to this medical garden I was working on a year ago, like right before they started checking, basically, and the sheriff freaked out and everyone fucking had a shit fit, and they declared an emergency. A year before that, I was driving out to Williams. Actually, I was driving out to Williams to hang out with a friend, and I see these short. It's July. And I'm seeing these 2-3 foot tall cannabis plants flowered all the way from the base, and I'm like, are those autoflowers? are those autoflowers just in an open field? Like, don't. I mean, okay. So an autoflower is a cannabis plant that flowers without the sun changing. So that's why harvest time is in October, because the sun changes and it causes the plant to flower later on in the summer. But these were flowering in midsummer, which means that they were bred cannabis to flower early, and they don't make hemp, as far as I know, that's autoflower. So I was looking, and they were blatantly growing this weed. It was right by the road, and it just floored me. And I'm like, how does the sheriff not know this? And then I started to realize, I'm like, either the sheriff doesn't know about autoflowers because they don't bother to learn about the drugs they enforce, or they don't have enough manpower to check.
Well, actually, it's not one thing.
Okay.
At first, the cops went, "Nah, we're not going to do anything."
Okay.
To be stinkers.
Oh yeah.
To let it get out of hand.
Because they wanted it to be bad, so they could say, "We told you it'd be bad. It's bad, right? Isn't it bad?"
Right. And then their lack of enforcement in the beginning gave the cartels their chutzpah to say, okay, let's do this out in the open.
All they needed is space, and once they realized they had space to move, they just moved.
And this has just come to light, just in the last year or so, to me anyway. A lot of the hemp farmers that you're talking about,
yeah,
they weren't given a choice. They had some fine Hispanic gentlemen show up at the door.
Well,
and they were forced. They were forced to grow. Okay, you guys, you got your hemp field over here. That corner of it, you're going to plant these, and if you don't follow our direction, you're going to lose it all.
That would be so.
It happened right here,
right? But there aren't just Mexicans or South Americans in these hills.
No. There's all kinds of. But I'm talking about specifically the Mexican cartels came here. They're here now.
Oh yeah, they're all over the place.
Right. I have not bumped into any Russians.
You haven't?
No Russian mafia yet.
So
I keep a very low. I'm not involved, and I keep a low profile.
So I've heard a bit of Ukrainian recently, but I haven't heard any Russian.
See, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I haven't heard any of that.
It's a wild world. I think there's some Israelis somewhere south of Medford somewhere doing something too.
Haven't bumped any of those guys, but but I had personal dealings with some of these fine Mexican gentlemen.
Oh boy, okay.
And they weren't from Honduras. They weren't from any. They were from Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, and northern Mexico to be exact.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so, and my dealings were pleasant. I moved along quickly. That's one of those things where you be friendly, don't try to make friends. But,
yeah.
But they didn't come up my driveway.
No.
I just know someone personally that they came up their driveway, got out of the car and told them, and they were some of those people that had right next to the road, they had 5,000
right,
however many you can fit in 5 acres of hemp.
Well, and people need to understand now that Josephine County and Jackson County in southern Oregon are starting to put ordinance on the books. I think the ordinance is already on the books in Josephine County, where if you rent your land out to someone and they do the wrong thing and grow some pot.
That was in the paper the other day.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
I just read that.
So what's going to happen is, like, a lot of people are allegedly getting threatened. A lot of people are also taking money. They're like being, hey, they're renting people land out to people, thinking, well, what my renters do is not my responsibility, and
now it is,
and now it is, because you will lose.
Well, it was before, because I knew some people that lost property.
Oh yeah,
that they allowed people to grow on their property. And they were card stackers. They grew too much. Feds came in with dump trucks, and then they wound up. And the innocent person, if there is such a thing, just the property owner got their property seized.
Jesus Christ!
So, and of course that's been quite a while ago.
And that's large scale growing too. Like people need to understand that, like,
anything over 99 is large scale.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah, that's 99 flowering plants.
Yeah, and that's one plant under the federal, so it kept you out of federal trouble, but would still allow the states to come in with dump trucks,
right? Yeah,
and clean you out and try to start seizing things and taking things.
Yeah, and then for smaller residential growers, especially in legal states, generally if you're following the rules, they're generally not going to come after you unless something else happens. Usually that's how small residential growers.
They're left. We're left completely alone
because there's so much bigger fish to fry.
Oh yeah, I mean, they caught that. What was it?
You talking about that bust up in Josephine County with that old lady that got nailed?
No, I'm talking about the one right down the street from where we're at now. And I want to throw a number out there, and it was an outrageous number.
I didn't hear about recently. Was there another one out there that they just busted recently?
It was right over there at that abandoned lumber mill.
Oh shit!
And that's
really?
where they had the narco, the slaves. They had the slaves inside the building with the tents. But I want to say they had 100,000 pounds.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that was the big. It was a number like that. I don't want to.
Yeah, they seized. They seized a warehouse in Central Point that had 300 pounds just sitting there.
Yeah, that was a little one.
Yeah,
300 pounds. That's
but I mean, you got
our neighbor over here's got 300 pounds.
Okay. Yeah, probably. Yeah,
easy, 300 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Well, you figure you're getting average, okay. let's go on the low ball because you've seen my plants. You've seen me pull 5 pounds off a plant.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
seen you. I've seen people consistently pull that too.
Right, but let's just round it down to a pound of plant.
Okay, a pound of plant.
Let's just go on and 300 plants.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
300
there you go.
pounds.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is so fair enough. Yeah.
And these guys are doing 3,000 and 4,000 plants, and they're using the light depth, so they're getting multiple grows.
Oh my lord.
Okay. Well, and
Those
they
poor
just
people
caught,
were busting their
right.
ass too.
And about 2 days ago, over in 1,500 pounds in Josephine County in Grants Pass.
Yeah, that was the old lady.
Okay, I didn't know.
There was
I just glanced over
There was
it.
some grow that was like close to town. I can't remember the story. I actually talked about it on my other show with my buddy Lucas. But this poor lady, here's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like they had a situation where there was a lady who like lived there and wasn't like super involved, maybe was involved a little bit, and then everybody else squirted when the sheriff's department came up and left her there. That's what it fucking sounds like.
That surprised me.
And then it sounds like the sheriff tricked the poor old bird into copping to a bunch of shit she shouldn't have. Is what it sounds like. That's too bad, but yeah,
it was. Yeah, it's gotten over the top here, and the reason that it went over the top is I want to put it all back on the out-of-state people that came here and meddled in our politics.
Okay.
The payoffs, the rip-offs, and the I see you. I'm not digressing here. I see you've got a Jacques Louis David painting on the wall there of Napoleon. Did you know that was a David?
Yeah.
And you know who David was?
Not super well. No.
Okay, well, this was French Revolution, and this is pertinent, folks. I'm not going off in the left field. It's just one of those random things that's pertinent. We had, of course, had Napoleon, and you had Jacques Louis David, the painter.
Right.
We also had this guy named Robespierre.
Oh, yeah.
He was the guy with the guillotine that cut off everybody's head.
He ended up in there too eventually.
And that's where I'm hoping this story goes. But we had a guy who was not a usurper. We had a guy that was I call a ne'er-do-well, and his name was Rob Patridge. Okay. And you people in the other states, you need to watch out for this name and this guy because he's still around. But he was a low-level city clerk here in Medford, Oregon for a while, and then he wanted a bigger job. He ran for city manager, and that didn't work. So he goes over to Klamath Falls, Oregon, which is kind of over the mountain from us, notorious for the famous George Bush speech when he came there for their water rights. And George Bush said that he believed that mankind and fish can live peacefully. But
yeah, because that's the problem.
Yeah, Google that, and you got Klamath Falls. So
Klamath
anyway,
is a shit show.
So he becomes the assistant district attorney over there in Klamath Falls, and he was a thorn in our side. We could not do anything. He became another ne'er-do-well when Oregon started their oversight programs. He wound up, chief cook and bottle washer of one of the oversight programs for the Oregon marijuana program,
Okay.
And he was just always throwing a wrench here and throwing a wrench there. And then after it legalized, he vanished.
Oh, dang.
He just vanished off the face of the earth. So I was kind of wondered what happened to him. I actually even sent an email into one of the news stations. Where's Rob Patridge now? And what is he doing? So about a year after that, I was on a plane, and I landed in Denver. And when I got off the plane, I saw former Senator Greg Walden. Lo and behold, Rob Patridge. And I walked up, I approached him, and I know that he recognized me, but not by name. I'd had some, we'll call them debates with him at meetings.
Okay.
That got a little heated. So I know that he recognized me. But when he saw me, he didn't throw a puss. He had a smile. I was like, hey, remember me? I'm Larry Aday.
Yeah,
we shook hands, everything smiled. I was like, so Rob, what are you doing? Where you been? And he informed me that he was traveling around the United States as a consultant for marijuana, for helping states legalize. So he flipped,
Awesome.
So yeah, he was a kind of a Robespierre, pointing the finger, and then just a hypocrite,
and
a flat out hypocrite.
I want to say something right now too, because there's two types of cannabis imports you get when you start a legalization process, and I am of a type, right? So there are people that kind of end up there, love cannabis, are excited about legalization, and their intentions are pure. They are trying to come to the promised land. Be nice to those people, and then there are policy advisors.
That's the ones.
And people that are coming in and they're polished and they know just what to say. And they're not necessarily their best in the best interest of the grower is not on their mind. The best interest of the patient is not on their mind. It's not even necessarily in the interest of a regulated market that they come. It's in their own best interest.
Right, and they're trying to sell some ancillary product like the metric. And then we have all the people that showed up
selling trim bags and stuff.
No,
not even that.
Selling the oils and rubs. You know what I mean?
Topical
CBD rubs and all of this stuff. Which I know there's a lot of people out there that are believers in that, but I ran the largest medical marijuana program in the world for a little while, and years and years of putting on clinics, working with the doctors. We were all HIPAA certified. We had a medical clinic. Okay, and for years and years and years and years and years, and I do believe that the CBD does have some benefits, but the people that were selling these creams and rubs were snake oil salesmen. Those were those people you were just talking about. They have the bad intention,
right?
And then of course the Klingons that I mentioned earlier that are just showing up they just want weed,
right?
And some of their just esoteric natures is the most polite way that I could put that.
So moon gazing hippies
and then of course
don't get me wrong, I love moon gazing hippies.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me, one of my back in the day with John Walsh, we had this gal that was hardcore activist gathering signatures, and I learned things about politics and about firsthand. I was right there in the trenches. And we traveled up and down I-5, and we noticed a lot of ubiquitous behavior. Between and there was this one guy, and I'm only going to call it one guy, even though it was 40 or 50 different guys.
One guy, same guy, different town.
Same guy, different town. Blue jeans. Kind of wannabe bikerish. Sleeves cut out of his shirt when he's just a couple years too old for that, maybe. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
still well, we're talking about a guy you see, you're relatively younger than me, but imagine me walking around with sleeves cut out of my shirt. Come on. And strolling casually, looking around, and you, excuse me, sir, you registered to vote? And it was always the same thing. They would hold out their hand in front of you and say, "I'm good," and then continue their stroll. And it was the same thing. I'm good. And this gal got so rattled after seeing this, and we were actually in a town where there was 4 or 5 in one town. I'm good. She says, I swear to God, the next guy that says that to me, I'm coming out from behind this table, and I'm going to ask him. And she did. Next guy comes along. Excuse me, sir, you registered to vote? I'm good. She jumped over the table, got right up, and she wasn't she was a pretty slight gal. And this guy was 6 foot plus.
Right.
Got right up in his face and says, "Yeah? How good are you?"
What did he do?
He melted down. And she started doing that to a lot of people.
Wait, he melted down? What do you mean he melted down?
Oh, yeah. He was like, and then stepped around her and just kept right on going.
You got to be
he
careful.
Had no response.
You got to be careful. Some guys might think you're hitting on them.
Yeah. It didn't come. Regardless, it came off pretty sexy, but it did not. It came off mocking.
Oh,
she was clearly mocking.
Oh,
okay, yeah. Really? How good are you? How good do you think you are?
Oh.
You know, type of thing. And then we would always have some other behaviors. There was always one kid, usually underage, 15, 16 years old, kind of your young Sheldon type or whatever, that would come up and want to debate us about the dangers of marijuana. Not because he believed anything. It just, he wanted somebody to argue with. So dealing with these personalities, I mentioned those because you get those same, not the same personality quirks, flaws, but a lot of personality flaws in a movement.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter whether you're doing your church group, car wash, raising money. I had my kids were in 4-H and FFA, and I've had opportunities to volunteer for some other civic organizations. You get those people.
Oh yeah.
The want to be in the first people that want to jump up and be in charge or that kind of thing, and those types of personalities got into the marijuana movement.
Oh yeah.
As well. So you had
they're in every social movement that exists.
Bizarre personalities, and then you've got the people that you were talking about with the their ulterior motives. Let's just give them a name. We will call them the Machiavellians. Okay, let's just call them what they are. They're Machiavellians. They are there to make money. Period. Things that actually I was accused of. Because you know me personally, you know that I do not own a dispensary.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to do any of the business of marijuana. I have nothing to do with it.
Nope.
And really kind of didn't have much intention, but people just assumed. A bad guy assumes that the other guy is going to be a bad guy too. That I had. What's your motivation? Well, my motivation was to legalize weed,
right?
And really nothing else. I was a donor. I didn't get paid.
Right.
I was a volunteer. You don't go down to the Elks Lodge and hold your hand out.
No.
Or you don't show up at the fundraiser for the crippled children with your hand out and trying to sell wheelchair tires. Okay? These people had their hands out in many different ways. And so people would just assume that since we were donating, these guys are closet millionaires. Yeah, he drives that old beat-up truck, and he doesn't have nice clothes. That's all it covers. That guy's a millionaire. I mean, and you know me. Do you think I'm anything close to a millionaire?
No.
Okay, maybe a couple thousandaire.
Maybe.
And actually, we'd probably be homeless right now if I hadn't bought that house. And that was 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought the house in 2010. And my mortgage, okay, let me rephrase that. I bought that trailer on that piece of land. That's a trailer.
Yeah.
Okay. It has wheels. Had wheels.
Uh-huh.
People call them modular homes. You can call them mobile homes. It's a trailer, folks. Came delivered on a truck. It's a trailer.
Okay.
So, but my mortgage is $695 a month.
Yeah, that's
okay,
affordable.
You can't rent. Yeah,
you can't find housing that's affordable now.
Right.
No.
So not only do I'm still driving the same old truck.
Right.
My mortgage is cheaper than the rent we were paying.
Right.
Before we got that, and so no, I had no ulterior motives, and which made me suspect. People were like, "Well, yeah, he's a millionaire," and none of us were. And as a matter of fact, that's a good segue into this next little rant that I've got. None of the people, not one that I knew, that were the real stakeholders, the people that put this together, that did the work, are in the business. All the mom and pop people,
oh yeah,
they're gone. It's just like
they're still around, but they do other things for money.
Yeah, they're certainly not. They're certainly not getting anything out of the weed.
No.
And it's like we had guys that didn't help with any of the politics or help with any of that kind of stuff. I don't want to mention any names, but he was one of the first guys to open up a dispensary in the state of Oregon. And we never heard from those people. Yeah. You know, they didn't have nothing to do with us until it. You know, and so then here we've got out-of-state people. And right over here, some of our neighbors. We've got Jim Belushi with a big farm over here and a television show and all that stuff. I was at a lot of rallies, and actually I was at all the rallies and everything. I don't remember seeing that guy or his people. Now, I want to get this guy's name right. I don't want to screw up, but there was one of the celebrity chefs that we all see on television did show up here.
Oh, you know what? Before we do that, I will say, not about Belushi and his cannabis stuff. I don't want to talk about that. But since he has been in the Valley, he has done some really cool things for the community. He's raised some money for some causes that aren't cannabis related. Like he raised some money to restore that
Holly Theater. Okay.
Yeah, Holly Theater.
Okay, can you see my eyes rolling in the back?
How long have they been trying to restore the Holly Theater?
A long time, but the whole point of it is that that's another nonprofit. And also the mill, that burnt down.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that is another one of those deals where people just want that job that they don't have to work at. They want to be the head of the Holly Theater. You see what I mean?
Right.
They want that they want to be the salaried employee at the nonprofit. And same with that mill. Yes, he helped those individuals, but he helped those individuals keep their jobs.
Okay.
See, and that was the whole thing. When I was with Voter Power, I was a volunteer. I never took a salary. When I became the director, I fired almost everyone that did have a salary.
Okay.
Yeah, I had actually, I turned that place upside down. we had idiots drawn paychecks that, you know, where they never showed up to work, but they just got a paycheck, and all of the salaries are.
Everybody loves a no-show job.
That's what they call it. Thank you. All these people had no-show jobs, and I fired them.
Yeah,
I made a lot of enemies. And one of the worst ones was a guy named. And this is not the basketball player. This is Chris Iverson, and this is Googleable. You look this, and I would encourage everyone to look this guy up on the internet.
Okay.
And his alternative thing, he was a rich kid from Portland, so people put up with him. His parents had owned a giant one of the downtown buildings with like 25, 30 stories high.
Okay.
And they gave him one of the floors.
Oh, nice.
And he grew weed there. Downtown Portland, inside of a high-rise building, 15 stories.
Did he get busted?
No.
Jeez.
How do you get busted?
I guess no one can go in there, right?
No one can go in there. And they threw parties.
And if he's the only person that lives on that floor, who's going to go in there?
Nobody. It was all private.
Oh,
so
wow.
Anyway, let's just say he made a lot of friends. Then he went over to Europe, and I forget what country it was, and they grew 30 or 40 acres of weed to make a movie called The Green Goddess. And they got caught, and then they lobbied with the government, just let us make the movie. We'll burn it all when we're done, or whatever. And basically, he got away with it.
Wow.
Came back to the United States, and he was always involved. I'm going to give him that. He was always involved. His alternative was sex with young girls, and me and him became enemy. First time I ever met the guy, he comes strolling up with this girl. Looked like she was about 14 years old.
Jesus Christ!
Oh yeah, and that's why I say this guy is really, really Googleable.
Oh, is he in jail now?
You're ruining the story.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
We're not there yet.
Okay, we're not there. Sorry, my bad.
We're not even there yet. He was another one of these esoteric personalities, just like these other people that you got to kind of watch out for, because they do have alternative motives, We had some disputes and, kind of like two fireflies buzzing around each other. And my whole deal with him is his choice of girlfriends made me very uncomfortable. And I wasn't the only one. But for whatever reason, because he's rich, he's the rich kid, a lot of people sided with him. Oh, Chris is our friend. And I was known as a loose cannon because I fired a lot of... I wouldn't put up with crap. I'm not getting paid. I'm paying to be here.
Right.
Okay, if you can't pay, which we did change the rules. We made it, if you can't donate, you can't be on the board of directors.
Right.
And so, sure enough, he comes down here to Ashland, opened up, what do you call it, organic restaurant.
Okay.
And then was promptly arrested for child molesting.
Oh, geez.
Him and his whole crew. And that put a major black eye on the whole movement.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. This guy was real bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And it wasn't just one thing. It was a whole mess. Hang on, just give me 1 second.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the same name as the basketball guy. Here we go. This is our local. Yeah. Former Ashland club owner jailed after sex abuse plea. Christopher Ian Iverson, 45, pled guilty Thursday in Jackson County Circuit Court to unlawful delivery of marijuana to a minor, and it just goes on and on and on.
Oh, and he's got since he got busted in Ashland, he's been busted in Washington County. Where is this? Oh, it's in Oregon as well. Okay.
Yeah, Washington County. It's up by Portland.
Okay, yeah.
It's right next to Multnomah County.
So he got busted with some other dude.
Yeah, does he not look like the mate? And you're not even seeing him at his best. Normally he dresses like a leprechaun.
Okay.
I mean, with the curly toe, the guy was so far out there.
So that set the movement back a while.
It pushed me out of the movement.
Right around when he got busted in 2014.
Well, my issues with him, because I got to the point where I will not deal with these people. I wouldn't put up with that guy in jail. You think I'm going to put up with him on the street?
Right.
Okay, they couldn't even house that guy in the same cell block with me. I'm not going to put up with it. And,
right.
And out here, no. And I brought him up because he's a really good example of the type of people that you're going to get in your marijuana activism. For all you people, I know that Indiana is battling right now the Marijuana Policy Project, and then there's another guy that runs, George Soros has a Marijuana Policy Project. That's not the name of it, but a group. And they are putting money into Illinois right now.
Okay.
And so what you want to do, all of your activists, everybody needs to be a volunteer. That's the moral of the story. I'm actually going to close with that because that's the end. Everyone needs to be a volunteer. No paid employees. Okay? And I know that sometimes you can't get the best results from volunteers, but you're better off. Otherwise, you're going to get these Chris Iversons. You're going to get this type of people that are they're going to scar your movement. They're going to steal your money. And in the case of the Chris Iverson type, they're going to molest your children. So that's really it. So
yeah, so that's good lessons learned from the Oregon cannabis legalization movement. And that was Larry Aday. And thank you for being on the Bag Seed Chronicles, Larry.
You're welcome. I always wanted to do this on a microphone.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And let's overgrow the world. You can reach me, Uncle Dig, on Instagram at Uncle Dig. The bumper music on this podcast was produced by Chad DeVilliers on ukulele. He can be followed on YouTube at Ukuleles Are Stupid or on Instagram at Chadwick Enterprises. Thank you for listening to the Bag Seed Chronicles.